She is a Colville tribal member, a business owner, a mentor to other Native women, and a self-proclaimed recovering do-all-the-things addict. Ladies and gentlemen, Roxanne Best.
To find myself, to know myself, to be myself, to improve myself, to get over myself, so I can give myself to you.
Vision quest. So sacred. In many indigenous cultures, a vision quest is a rite of passage. It's a time in our lives when we're facing struggles. We're trying to determine, who am I? Where is my place in this world? Where do I belong? And we send you out on a vision quest to get your answers. And in doing research to figure out, what is a vision quest, because my grandmas, who I normally would have consulted, are no longer here anymore, I consulted the next wisest entity that I know, ChatGPT, or Google. A vision quest. There's some elements to a vision quest that are very similar to the process that I like to work with my clients on to get them clear on what their purpose is in this world. One of those elements is isolation. You go inward. And in the traditional vision quest, we send you off into the wilderness or off into isolation, and you are alone. No cell phones, no ChatGPT to consult for answers, and you are in isolation. The second element is fasting. Fasting, you go without something that you usually use as a crutch to get you through difficult times, so we don't have to face what it is that is causing us strife. So we go without food or sleep in the traditional vision quest. And then we practice prayer or meditation. Whatever version of that is for you, we just take some time and we ask for the answers. So we're solo, we're fasting, so we're not distracted, and we're asking and praying for answers. And then we start to develop connection. We start to be like, hey, look at that cool deer over there. That might be my spirit animal. Not really. But we start to connect with things that might help us along our journey, along our path to figuring out who we are and who we're meant to be. And then there's usually supervision. If you watch the Disney movies, they usually send the young man out into the woods, into the venture all by himself, and there's nobody there, and hopefully he survives, and he comes back to the village to do the cool thing he was meant to do when he discovers on his vision quest. No. There's usually supervision, somebody there to help interpret what is going on. When you see that deer, probably not your spirit animal, but what's the message the deer might have for you? So the traditional vision quest, that's what we would go through. Being a modern woman, I was like, there's no way people in the world are going to be like, send me on a vision quest, Roxanne. I need to figure out what my purpose is. So instead, I was like, okay, I need to figure out a contemporary approach. As a single mom, I'm a very, very busy woman, and I have a super willful preteen right now, and everything I say is wrong. Long do I yearn for the days of the vision quest so I could send my child off with a guide to figure his shit out. So I am a mom of that willful teen, and if it weren't for the vision quest, I would be completely lost. So the power of a vision, whether you're a parent, a business owner, a community leader, or simply as an individual seeking fulfillment. Having clear vision will make any journey that you decide to go on more peaceful, more connected, and more grounded, whether your spirit animal's a deer or not. Before having clear vision of my own, I was in chaos. I spent a lifetime living in survival mode. I felt like I was never enough. I wasn't skinny enough. I wasn't white enough. I wasn't native enough. I wasn't smart enough. I was in a perpetual state of not enoughness. I was putting all of my energy into trying to fit in, into trying to belong in a place that maybe I didn't belong. And with clear vision, we can look at these spaces and say, you know what? You're not my people. I'm out. But without clear vision, we become like the chameleon and we just blend in wherever we are. Whoever's popular opinion is in the room, that's our opinion too. We do everything we can to not be disagreeable. We want everyone to love us, like me, please. I remember in high school, I wrote a poem actually about, I am the chameleon. No matter where I am, I blend in with my surroundings, and then nobody will know that I'm different. Before vision, I was living in chaos and fear, anxiety. I had no clear direction, except knowing that I had this uncanny ability to fit in all the places. And I rarely failed because I did one of two things. Either I didn't do things that I might fail at, or I worked so hard to become an expert at the thing before I ever did it publicly. How many people have been there? Like, we can kind of relate to that, right? So I had no focus. If I wasn't motivated, then there wasn't any action. I worked on everything, and therefore I worked on nothing. I knew in my heart there had to be a better way, and that was when I discovered the vision process. I went to faithful Google, and I typed in, I'm a yoga instructor, so I wanted something that would align with my yoga life. Yoga and life coach. And there is where my vision quest began. The foundation of vision starts in our values. These are the principles that matter most to you. When I work with my clients, I like them to come up with 4 different core values. The reason why that this is so important is because if we ever sat on a stool with 3 legs is like not very sturdy, but a stool with 4 legs, we feel a lot more secure. And as an Indigenous person, we often refer to the 4 directions. And so having 4 core values will help us stay grounded in who we are whenever we're out to sea and possibly feeling off our footing. So in this example, you can see I'm giving you my 4 core values. And I actually need to revisit this because they've changed a little bit. So we have boundaries, knowledge, belonging, health. And if I had every single person in this room write down what each of these things meant to you, we would all be kind of similar, but I bet you every person would have a very, very different experience. So having 4 core values will keep us solidly rooted in who we are. Are you able to name your 4 core values? If you open up your books to my page and flip it to the next one, you'll see this slide. And we're going to turn on some music and have a minute on the timer and write down at least one of your values and then define it. If you can write down all 4 and you already know what they are, fantastic. You are way ahead of the game. But just write down one core value to you, what's something that means a lot to you. Now keep in mind that when I work with my clients, this usually takes like a day or a whole week. So you're doing it in a minute. So minute on the clock, music please. And I'll do a little dance. Ooh. So while you're writing, I'm going to just read one of my core values, which is boundaries. For me, what boundaries mean is being so clear on what my purpose is that I'm able to say no to anything that steals my energy, makes me feel like I'm not good enough, or is out of alignment with my purpose. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I encourage you all to get really clear on what those 4 core values are, define them, what they mean to you, and you don't have to use real words. You can make up words. So the next part of vision is I. This is where we find out who we are. We create our identity. Who are you, and who do you aspire to be? We start by taking a look at what type of person are you right now? Like the cat looking in the mirror. Right now, that cat's a kitty. So sweet. But he wants to be the tiger. I had to look. Is that a tiger or a lion? I don't even know. But he wants to be fierce, right? So who he is right now and who he wants to be aren't the same. We could be in that same situation. Who am I right now? Who do I want to be? We look back at our values and we create a superhero version of ourselves based on that core value. And then we are creating a version of ourselves that shows up based in who we are and what matters to us most. So my identities, the river, which for me that correlates with boundaries and with knowledge. And then Groot, because no matter where Groot is, he belongs, or they belong. I don't know, is he, she, what, they. But Groot belongs. There's nobody gonna tell Groot, and Groot will grow in whatever environment they're put in. The next superhero version of me is Wonder Woman, and this is health, empowerment, and then the Dorcacorn. This is my made-up word. You get to make whatever you want it to be. This is belonging and knowledge. The Dorcacorn is a combination of the dork and the unicorn. Sometimes we can become so serious in this world that we forget to have a sense of humor. We forget to laugh because we're so focused on the vision that's not based in anything that matters to us. And we're leaking energy all over the place. And so the Dorcacorn for me is that person who shows up and has a good time and isn't afraid to be herself. The S in vision is the situation. What situation do you currently find yourself in? No matter where you're about to go, whether you're getting out of your seat right now and gonna go use the loo, or you're going on a long road trip, you need to know where you are right now to figure out where you're gonna go. So, what situation do you find yourself in? And just like any vision quest, we have to know where we are to know where we're gonna be in the future. So, this is where we take that 3,000-foot view and get a really clear idea and figure out, okay, how long is it gonna take me to get from where I am right now to where I wanna be? So situation, where am I? Where do I want to be? And then the I of vision is intention. Based on your values, how you want to show up in the world, your current situation, where you want to go, what is your purpose? What is your intention? This is where we might take a chance and just say, I am on a mission to complete the sentence. What's the first thing that pops up into your mind? Or you might say, my purpose on this planet is, and then you fill in the blank. For me, my purpose is to empower Indigenous women to connect to the badass versions of themselves that they are, so that they can be the leaders that they are meant to be in their homes, and their communities. Then the obstacles. If we don't identify potential obstacles, we are not gonna be able to survive. Any vision quest, any good quest is like, okay, this is what I have. These are the tools I have with me right now. And if I wanna get over there, I'm gonna need some things. So we need to know what obstacles might be in the way for us to get there. What tools do I need? What potential roadblocks might I run into? What people might try to stop me from doing the thing I want to do. So we identify those obstacles. When I was a scuba diving instructor, one of the many things that I did as a do all the things addict, we would do the dive briefing and, we'd be on the dock and the boat would be behind us and we'd be like, okay, we're all gonna go on our dive, we're gonna have a great time, we'll do hand signals and blah, 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 ask you every once in a while, how much air do you have? And I want you to tell me, how much air do you have? And in the unlikely event that you should run out of air, we're going to buddy breathe and swim slowly to the surface and back to the boat, and it'll be great. Now, in my 10 plus years being a scuba diving instructor, I only had that once happen. And it was because the person wouldn't tell me how much air they had because they didn't want to end the dive. But we identified a potential obstacle, and we were able to overcome it safely and get back onto the boat and enjoy the rest of the trip. Then that brings us to the end. Once you know all these things about yourself, once you know who you are in this world and what your purpose is, this is where you're like, okay, now what? This is where most of us stop. We get all these, set these goals, we make all these plans, and we don't create strategy to get us from where we are to where we want to be based on what matters to us most, our core values. Now what is where you get to fall in love with the process of creating strategy, setting goals based on consistent action over time that are going to get you the results that you want. The now what is where we sit down and we really look closely at how long do you think it's going to take you to be the person that you want to be, to achieve the things that you want to achieve, and we get really, really clear on the steps that you're going to take every single day to get to where you want to be. So that's the now what. Drop the mic. Your dream life will manifest itself. It'll be served up to you on a silver platter, and all will be great because you just did a vision quest. Wrong. Life will happen. The unexpected obstacle that you didn't plan for is gonna pop up, and you're gonna be like, shoot, I didn't plan for this one, so I better go grab that dozen donuts and turn on some Netflix and just sit here and see what happens, which is what I used to do when the unexpected would pop up. But we wanna make sure that when the first obstacle comes up, use the plan that you created so you don't revert back to the old ways of jumping on that hamster wheel, being continuously busy, working and working and working and getting absolutely nowhere. I'm 3 years into this process, and I still find myself reverting back to my old do all the things addict ways. The difference is that now I have such a powerful vision, I don't stay on the wheel for too long. It was a hot July afternoon. I was heading home after a long day on the road. I had driven 2 hours to go to Costco and loaded up my car with all the produce, all the meat, all the perishables. I forgot my cooler, so I was banking on making it home and my AC doing its job. My car starts doing this thing when I'm getting closer to my house, and then my lights start flashing on and off, and I'm like, oh shit, the aliens have finally come. They've come for me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, it's probably not aliens. My car is probably just being weird. So I pull off to the side of the road and I'm stressing out, freaking out. I've got hundreds of dollars of groceries in my car that are gonna get ruined because I'm in 100-degree heat in July and there's no cooler. What am I gonna do? Panic, spiraling out. I'm looking through the groceries for the cookies and the donuts so I can soothe myself with food. Take a deep breath. I'm like, wait, I am the river. And my car, being a dick right now, is a pebble that someone just tossed in my river. And what happens when you toss a pebble in the river? Does the river go, I will not flow anymore? No, the river flows, and it flows strong. Maybe ripples come, but the river continues to flow. So the aliens decided I was not worthy. Miraculously, my car started, and I completed my journey home, unloaded my groceries, and did not have a panic attack. The cookies and donuts survived, and life went on. So life with vision will get you off the hamster wheel. I've found my way into recovery from the life of a do-all-the-things addict and into a life that has meaning and purpose. My days are no longer spinning out of control, wondering what to do, or if what I'm doing is aligned with what matters to me most. The energy put into projects is matched by equal or greater outputs. I have healthy boundaries. I'm aligned with my work. I know how to crack a joke and be kind of okay with it if it doesn't land in the room or at the table I'm sitting at, which is such a different version of the chameleon that just tried to blend in and would just sit back and let the room dictate the message that was being delivered. So get off the hamster wheel. Find your vision by going on your modern day vision quest. Values, identity, your situation. What is your intention? What obstacles might you face? And then make a plan to execute based on all of those elements. For the women in the room ready to start a business or take significant steps in your lives towards the life of your dreams, I urge you, define your vision. It will guide you and help you set healthy boundaries, making your journey more purposeful and powerful. For organizations, whether you need to develop a vision or a strategic plan, remember, having a clear vision is not a luxury, it's a necessity to stay relevant in today's economy. So what's holding you back? How can you make choices that will result in real progress towards the life of your dreams? It's time for you to have a clear vision and build a foundation for your epic life. So sacred.